Hey everybody, so this week's question is Jesus maybe being ironic when he calls someone who's being dishonest shrewd or wise? So this comes out of an odd story in Luke 16 where you've got a dishonest manager that's about to be fired, and then he appears to be even more dishonest by cooking the books for his boss as a way of trying to set himself up as he's about to get tossed out onto the street. And then Jesus makes this odd comment where he calls that person wise, shrewd, depending on the translation. What is going on there? Well, actually, we got to roll that back about 1,000 years, 1,500 years, to one of the heroes of the Israelite story, Jacob. Jacob, who is considered a trickster. Jacob, who is considered shrewd. Jacob, who manipulates people and others to get things for himself. And Jacob is a hero. See, one of the hardest things about the Bible is that it is written in a particular time, in a particular place, with a particular culture that is not the same as our own. And the reality is, in that time and place, in that culture, being shrewd, being wise, tricking others, that was often lifted up as a great asset, as something that was good for others. And we've seen that just in our own world. There are different things in different parts of America where culture is different depending on where you're at. The long Minnesota goodbye versus the short New York get out of my house. Like, we all have different things about it. So why are we so shocked when we read that in the Bible? Well, of course we're shocked because it doesn't line up with what we think Jesus should be saying. But there, well, I think he actually is saying what he wants to say all along. Yeah, there's always going to be cultural things that you can do and you can do super well. There's always going to be things about your time and your place that if you want to, you can be great at that. You can be seen as really incredible at that. That can be lifted up about you, but does that mean you're doing what God wants you to do? I mean, sure, this dishonest manager was wise, was shrewd, and we may read those and take those as positive comments, but Jesus continues in the story and says, yeah, but who is he really serving? And who are you serving when you chase after the things that your culture lifts up instead of chasing after what God is calling you to do? Culture is always going to be in conflict with God at some point, and we're all going to have to make that choice, that decision. Do we want the culture to cheer us on? The culture to look at us like we've done the right thing? Or do we want God to look at us like we've done the right thing? It's hard to figure out, and even harder when sometimes what we read doesn't line up with the culture that we've got in our day today. But I guess following Jesus isn't always easy. It is fun, though, when we get into discussions like this and we get to have really interesting questions. So that's a great question. I hope you enjoyed the discussion, and I hope you're back next week for our next one. See you next time.